What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for the final top 32 of the season. And this is the part 2. It's the part where we go from number 16 to number 1. So let's stop the chit chat and let's get into it right away. All right, so let's start this thing back here at number 16. And even if I fully expect him to go higher in the draft, I have Kian HSN at number 16. HSN is a physical, competitive, borderline violent left shot defenseman who stands at 6'1", almost 200 pounds. HSN also put up a ton of points on the board in the OHL with 59 points in 64 games, including a staggering 26 goals. Yes, he is one of the oldest players in the draft, but those numbers are on par with players like Pietrangelo or Ekblad and Rasmus Anderson. Is he going to be a pure puck-moving offensive defenseman in the NHL? Most likely not, but he projects as a very physical, stand-up type of defenseman who can also score and create offense. The defense part of things is still not quite there. He can be a little bit all over the place and can also try to overdo it with the physicality, which takes him out of the play sometimes. The skating will need to take a jump for him to be able to do his thing at the NHL level, but I expect it to be about average. I think he has like some Mackenzie Weegar in him, similar style, similar upside. I think at 16 you take that all day and even higher in the draft. Next, at number 15, we have Lynden Lakovic, and here is where we jump into a different tier that's going to bring us all the way up to number 7. Lakovic is a big 6'4" left shot winger who put up 58 points in 47 games in the WHL, playing for one of the worst teams with the Moose Jaw Warriors. I think everyone would have liked to see a little bit more production, also considering it's a December birthday, but overall it's still decent, especially on the team that he played. Lakovic probably leans shooter more than playmaker and is probably more of a complementary piece on a top 6, but there's no denying the talent and upside. He's big, and when he gets going, he's fast. He has quick hands and creativity. He has vision, great sense, very good puck skills, and one of the top shots in the draft. There's all this conversation that's getting a little bit overblown, in my opinion, of how he doesn't play inside ice or doesn't drive the net or play physically. My opinion on the matter is that he doesn't use his body to its full capacity, but it's well on the way to get there. He has power element to his game to combine with his soft skill, which makes him such an intriguing player. I don't like having him this low in the draft. This is about the lowest I've placed him all season, but like I said, he's in that third tier, meaning that I'd be comfortable with him all the way up to number 7. Next, at number 14, I have Brady Martin, by far the most spectacular player physically in this draft. Martin is a 6-foot center who weighed in at 186 pounds at the combine and put up 72 points in 57 games, including 33 goals. He was flying a little bit under the radar before the U18s, and I said multiple times how he would be a very good target for the Habs at number 16, and at the time he would have been available, but after the U18s there was somewhat of a correction and in his ranking, and probably I would say a little bit of an overcorrection. He jumped in basically everybody's top 10, and now everyone is talking about him as the next Sam Bennett. I think he does have that Sam Bennett type of profile and upside, but the thing is, there's two Sam Bennett. There's the MVP Sam Bennett and there's this 50-something point physical forward Sam Bennett. And I think it's important to make a distinction between both because there's not many 50-point forwards who all of a sudden become MVP level players when the playoff comes in. There's like one or maybe two. There's basically Sam Bennett and Justin Williams. So I think it's a little wild to compare him to that and expect that. But nonetheless, Martin is a skilled player with creativity who can finish around the net and hit everything that moves with a strength that basically just defies physics. Next, at number 13, we have the big boy Radim Murka, and Murka is a giant 6'6" right shot defenseman who can move his feet and move the puck and put up 35 points in 43 games after transferring from Czechia to the WHL. I think he's very likely to be the second defenseman taken in the draft due to his size and the right shot factor, even though he isn't my number 1 D after Schaefer. Murka is a little bit of a work in progress, but he was one of the best defensemen defensively in the entire CHL this season. He can cover so much ice with his feet and his length that it's really easy to project him in a minute-munching role in the NHL. He's a good skater, solid handler, he can make some clean passes. I think there's some work to be done there to make him hit target in motion with more consistency, but he sees the ice pretty well. He evades pressure and have the right ideas to move the play forward quickly. I think he's as sure a top 4 defenseman in this draft as there is outside of obviously Matthew Schaefer, with also some upside to become some kind of Colton Parayko or something around that. Next, at number 12, I have Jackson Smith, who is my highest ranked defenseman in this draft outside of Schaefer. Smith is a 6'3" left shot defenseman who put up 54 points in 68 games in the WHL for the Tri-City Americans. I personally believe that he's the most likely defenseman, again outside of Schaefer obviously, to reach the top pair defenseman status, because yes, he's not as good defensively as Murka or as physical as HSN, but he projects to have an impact physically and to defend well enough at the NHL level. But he's also an outstanding skater and offensive chance creator. His feet, for his size, are just so explosive and fluid. His hands are also smooth enough to cut through traffic and keep possession. He has a good shot, he has creativity, he has vision, he has good sense, he has a little bit of everything. And while I think he could become a top pair D in the same vein as a Thomas Harley or Travis Sanheim or something like that, he could also just become some kind of Mike Matheson. He's very reminiscent of a Mike Matheson. So the floor is probably something like Mike Matheson, and the ceiling something like Thomas Hardy. Next, at number 11, we have Carter Bear, and Bear is a 6 foot, 180 pounds winger who leaves it all on the ice every single shift. He put up an impressive 82 points, including 40 goals in 56 games this season. He suffered an Achilles laceration by the end of the season, but he's well on the way back and already skating. But the question is, can it come back to the level before the injury? We don't know that, and he was already just an average skater, so let's hope it's not going to slow him down. Carter Bear is an easy player to project in the NHL. He's very intense, he's very physical, he engages in every battle like it's a do or die. He has good skills, good vision and passing, and finishes a ton of plays around the net. He has mid-range power on his shot, but that's not really his game. His game is basically to bring the puck inside within a few feet of the net and score. He will be the type of player that every fans love. In my scouting report, I said that he looked like a Brendan Hagel to me, and it turns out that he compares himself to Brendan Hagel, so I was spot on. I don't know if he has that level of offensive output in his future, but if there's one player that has the work ethic to get there, it's going to be him. Next, at number 10, and this one might come a little bit as a surprise, but I have Anton Fondell. Fondell is a 6'1", 205 pound center, or at least he projects as a center, even though he played mostly wing this season. He put up a ridiculous 25 points in 26 games in the Allsvenskan. In terms of raw production, those numbers put him right between Elias Pettersson and William Nylander for points per game in the Allsvenskan, but I find it so hard to see a player of that level when I watch him. Fondell's best attribute is, without question, his one-timer. Outside of that, we could say that his shot arsenal is also very legit. He has an eye to get open, to release those shots, or to bounce on rebounds to score from close. Very good potential as a goal-scoring element in the NHL, but everything else is average. He's an accurate passer that doesn't overcomplicate things, doesn't try creative plays or anything like that. Just a quick puck distribution to get eyes away from him so he can slide into open ice. He's heavy, he's competitive, he can hit, he can win battles, he's already physically mature, so what you see is basically what you get, but everything put together, you've got a toolsy center with scoring upside and a decent two-way game, but the lack of dynamism in his game plus the average skating and the average playmaking make me believe that he doesn't have much more to give and that there's not a lot of runway to develop into a better offensive driver. I think he's a top 6 player in the NHL, no questions about it, but probably something like a Sean Monahan or a Bo Horvat type of player. At number 9, we have Fondell's line mate Victor Eklund, and I don't think there's many ranking with Eklund above Fondell, but I mean, such is life. Eklund is 5'11", 170 pound winger who plays like he's 6'3". He didn't put up quite the same number as Fondell, but still a very respectful 31 points in 42 games in the Allsvenskan. I landed with Eklund at number 9, one spot before Fondell, because I can't think of a single game that I've watched where Eklund wasn't clearly better, more dynamic, more impactful, or even fully driving the offense on his line. The fact that Fondell projects as a center and is big and strong is probably one of the reasons why it ended up close, but Eklund, for me, clearly is the better player right now, but projecting a 5'11" winger who's very light is more complicated than Fondell's profile. Nonetheless, Eklund is a dynamic skater, intelligent player who pushes the pace and intensity as high as it can go. He's involved in every battles for the puck. He forechecks like there's no tomorrow. He retrieves puck and finds ways to bring it inside, either with a clean pass or a drive to the net by himself. He's just a fearless competitor. He's physical, he's fast, he plays on inside ice. Outside of the physical profile, there's just nothing to dislike. If there's basically one player who could be the next Seth Jarvis, I think it's him. He compares himself to Travis Konechny and he has that type of grit inside of him. I just love this player. Next at number 8, we got my boy Justin Carbono. He's been a favorite of mine for a little while now, starting last season. I even had him in my preliminary top 10, and while he dropped a little bit mid-season, I moved him back where I think he belongs, which is basically in the top 10. Carbono is a 6'1", 205 pounds winger with so much upside if he puts it all together. I said all season how Carbono has top 10 skills and tools, and it would be hard to be more satisfied with the season that he had with 89 points in 62 games, including 46 goals. It's pretty convincing. Carbono kind of got it all. He's a powerful skater, he's physical, he has one of the best shots in the entire draft, underrated playmaking, read plays and anticipates space on the ice, heavy on the puck, lean on players to get inside. He does so much that screams NHL top 6 upside. It doesn't mean he's perfect. He needs some refinement with decision making with the puck on his stick. He also needs to find a B game when the puck isn't on his stick, but what he has is a rare combination of speed, heaviness, soft skills, and finishing talent. And for the last player of this tier, we've got Jake OBrien. OBrien is a 6'2" center who's still very lean at 170 pounds. He put up 98 points, including 32 goals in 66 games in the OHL, so production is on point. Personally, I think OBrien is one of the best, if not the best, distributor in the entire draft. There is no pass that isn't perfectly flat with the perfect weight and velocity on it. He has great sense, very good hands, and is probably one of the most deceptive players in the entire draft. He plays a style of hockey that isn't all that common in the NHL. He's very reliant on power plays, pace, and time to make things happen. He's just an average skater, and his shot lacks the power to make him a dual threat. He will need to create more in motion and make plays at top speed. I think the handling is more than adequate for him to make plays with restricted space, but he slows the game down just a little bit too much for my liking. There is tons of upside with OBrien, but he needs to work on his pace. Next, at number 6 and into a new tier, we have Roger McQueen. McQueen is a 6'5" right shot center who had issues with injuries basically all season. He played 17 games and put up 20 points, which is very far from ideal. On profile alone, he's probably a top 5 or top 3 pick, but back injuries are back injuries. McQueen's a big, smooth skating, playmaking center with power and finishing talent. There's really not that much that he can't do at a high level. He's a very rare type of talent, but again, injuries are slowing down the projection. But he can do everything. He's smart, he works hard, he's physical, he makes plays in motion, finish at the net, but also has mid-range power in his shot. He's deceptive, he has great hands, and he can attack defenders one-on-one. Just a special type of talent with a very intriguing upside. Next, at number 5, I have James Akins, but basically anyone in this tier could be slotted anywhere from 3 to 6. Akins is a center who measured at 5'10", 186 pounds at a combine, so basically far from ideal size, but that's about where the negative ends. Everything else is top tier. Probably would have loved a better production in the NCAA, especially with him playing tons of minutes with Brian Leonard and Gabe Perreault, but it just didn't click that much. I'm not sure I can say that Akins is an inferior player to Will Smith, but when these two had Smith on their line, it just worked. With Akins, it wasn't the same, but he still finished with 37 points in 37 games. Akins is a player for who the majority of his tools grades as high-end or close to. He's a great four-way skater. He navigates through traffic like it's nothing. He has explosion and speed to separate and create speed differentials. He has handling to attack defenders one-on-one and hide his intentions. He has the puck skills to thread the puck through layers and catch a far from perfect passes and do something with it with 1 or 2 touches. He has good enough shot to beat goalies clean with a quick and deceptive release. He's smart, he's a playmaker through and through, and generally drive offense. Like, there's really not much else you can want from him. Probably has one of the highest offensive potential in the draft, but as a complete player, he's not yet on top of it. Next, at number 4, we got Porter Marton, and the debate between Marton and Higgins kind of reminds me of the debate between Slafkovsky and Cooley. The difference is that I think Cooley was better and more competitive and more dynamic at the same age as Higgins, but I also think that Marton is a better player than Slafkovsky, so it would be hard for me to put Higgins before Marton after this reflection. Marton is a 6'3" right winger who put up 98 points over 57 games, including 37 goals. Marton has almost everything you can wish for in a productive power winger. Would you like it if he had a little bit more foot speed, especially from a standstill? Probably, or obviously, the first 2-3 steps, they need to take a step, but everything else in his game is just so good. He has great and quick hands. The guy can pull moves in tight or pull the puck in out of reach with ease. He's always a step ahead of everyone on the ice. He's aware of all the options before he even gets the puck. He can use his hockey sense to push the pace instead of using his feet to do it, quickly moving the puck or finding the best possible play before it's even available. He has a powerful and accurate shot with a devastating catch and release, great vision with the puck skills to thread passes to the back door through layers, plus he has physicality. That last part probably needs more consistency, but when he does add it, he'll be very dangerous in every facet of the game. And let's not forget that he's a captain for his team and was the captain of Team Canada last year at the U18s. He reminds me of some kind of Mark Stone, and that's the type of potential I can envision for Marton at his ceiling. Here at number 3, I have Caleeb Denoi, and I've went back and forth a little bit here between Marton and Denoi, but ultimately decided to go with Denoi. Caleeb is a 6'2", 175-pound center who put up 84 points in 56 games, including 35 goals. Denoi is a do-it-all type of center. He can play the game any way you want it. He can make plays or finish plays. He can drive the net. He can back check, forecheck, support his defense down low. He can create offense off the rush or create offense off the cycle. He can fake a shot, send a pass across the ice, or advance the play closer to the net with a simple give and go. There's really nothing that he can do, and he did it all season with 2 injured wrists and a bum shoulder. The only knock on his game is probably his skating. He won't be pushing the pace or pushing defense on their heels with his foot speed. There's still significant physical maturity for him to grow into, which should help him gain a step, but there's always a little bit of hesitation with players with less than ideal foot speed. It makes me think of Lafrenière a few years back. He had everything to be an impactful player in the NHL but the foot speed, and it's been really complicated for him. Let's hope it goes better for Denoi. And next at number 2, and that should be no secret to anyone, I have Michael Misa. Misa is a center in the same vein as Celebrini, a player that can do everything at a very high level. Not to the same level as Celebrini. I think Celebrini's sense and shot and hands are probably a good tier above, but nonetheless still a fantastic player. He's a center with some size at 6'1", 185 pounds. He put up ridiculous production with Saginaw with 134 points in 65 games, including 62 goals. That's not McDavid or Patrick Kane's type of level of ridiculous production, but it's Marner, Spezza, and Rossi's level of ridiculousness. Misa grades as high-end on almost every attribute outside of hockey sense, but at the same time, I don't think he has anything that really stands out as elite. He's a good skater, good hands, solid shot, isn't afraid to finish around the net, plays with tons of pace, sees the ice well, track back on defense, and doesn't cheat for offense. He has a lot going for him. I think he has that first-line center potential, but if he goes to San Jose, it's definitely 1B because he's not Celebrini type of good in my opinion. And finally, to finish this up, I have Matthew Schaefer at number 1 to the surprise of absolutely no one. I also think that he's in a tier of his own. I wouldn't have Misa and Schaefer in the same tier. I don't see a world where Misa wins Selkies or MVPs in production award, but I can definitely see a world where Schaefer is constantly in the Norris conversation and could win a few times over his career. Also, as opposed to Misa, Schaefer has elite tools in his toolkit, which very few does in this draft. Schaefer is a 6'2", 185-pound left-shot defenseman who didn't play much because of mononucleosis at the beginning of the season, and he followed that up with a collarbone fracture later in the season. In the 17 games that he did play, though, he looked like a star and he put up 20 points. Schaefer is one of the best skater in the entire draft, on par with much smaller player like Cullen Potter, but in a much bigger package. He's super competitive. His defensive skating is off the chart. He can close gaps quickly, pivot on a dime. He can fake it on retrievals, create separation, and move the play the other way in an instant. His transition game really project as elite. His defensive game and offensive game both project as high-end or elite. Just a do-it-all workhorse who can play all situations and take over games a la Roman Josi. He's an impressive player. I wish we could have seen more this season, but it is what it is. Anyways, that is it for the final top 32 of the season. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's time for vacations. Please take the time to like and subscribe if you like the content that I make. And as always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.